The Forgotten Well. In the quiet village of Ravenswood, nestled in a valley surrounded by thick forests, there was an old legend about the Forgotten Well. The well, hidden deep in the woods, had been abandoned for centuries. Locals spoke in hushed tones about its cursed waters and the strange disappearances that had plagued the village long ago. Few believed the tales anymore, dismissing them as superstition, but no one ventured too far into the forest, just in case. The dare one chilly autumn evening, a group of teenagers gathered at the edge of the forest. Among them was Lila, a sharp-witted and fearless girl, and her skeptical best friend, Mason. The group had heard the stories of the well, but dismissed them as nonsense. Fueled by boredom and a little too much bravado, Lila declared, "I'll go find the well. Who's coming with me?" The group hesitated, their laughter faltering. Only Mason reluctantly agreed, though he whispered, "This isn't a good idea, Lila." With flashlights in hand, they ventured into the forest. The trees grew denser as they walked, their gnarled branches clawing at the darkening sky. The air grew colder, and an unnatural silence settled around them, broken only by the crunch of leaves underfoot. Well, after what felt like hours, they stumbled upon a clearing. There it was, the Forgotten Well, a crumbling stone structure half hidden by moss and ivy. The air around it felt heavy, almost alive, as if the forest was holding its breath. Lila approached it cautiously, peering over the edge. The darkness within seemed to stretch infinitely, and the faint sound of dripping water echoed from below. Carved into the stones were strange symbols that neither of them could decipher. "This is just an old well," Lila said, though her voice wavered. "Nothing to be scared of." Mason pointed his flashlight down the shaft, but the beam was swallowed by the darkness. "Let's go back, Lila. This place gives me the creeps." But Lila, always the daredevil, found a rusted bucket attached to a frayed rope. "Let's see how deep it goes." She began to lower the bucket, but the rope suddenly went taut, as if something had grabbed it. Startled, she let go, and the rope snapped back violently, the bucket vanishing into the abyss. The whisper. Then they heard it. A soft, faint whisper rising from the well. It was a garbled voice, distorted and hollow, but unmistakably human. "Help. Me." Mason froze. "Did you hear that?" he whispered. Lila nodded, her face pale. "It's probably an echo, or the wind." But the voice came again, louder this time. "Help me, please." Against her better judgment, Lila leaned closer to the edge. "Hello? Who's there?" There was a pause, then the voice replied, "I've been trapped. For so long." "Lila, stop!" Mason hissed, pulling her back. "This is insane. We're leaving." But before they could move, a hand shot out of the darkness. Thin, bony, and impossibly long, it grasped the edge of the well. Another hand followed, then a face. A pale, hollow-eyed visage with a twisted grin. The chase Lila and Mason screamed, stumbling backward as the figure began to climb out of the well. Its body was emaciated, its limbs unnaturally long, and its movements were jerky, like a marionette controlled by invisible strings. "Run!" Mason shouted, grabbing Lila's arm. They fled into the forest, their flashlights bouncing wildly. Behind them, the creature gave chase, its movements eerily silent despite its speed. The forest seemed to close in around them, the trees forming an almost labyrinthine barrier. Lila tripped over a root, falling hard. Mason stopped to help her up, but the creature was already upon them. It loomed over them, its hollow eyes glinting with malice. "Stay. With me," it hissed, its voice like nails on glass. Desperate, Mason swung his flashlight at the creature, but it passed through as if it were made of smoke. The creature lunged, and everything went black. The aftermath. When Lila woke, she was lying at the edge of the forest. The morning sun was rising, and birds chirped in the distance. Mason was gone. She staggered back to the village, hysterical, but no one believed her story. Search parties were sent into the forest, but they found no sign of Mason or the well. The villagers whispered that the legend was true, that the well had claimed another victim. Lila never stopped searching for her friend, returning to the forest every year on the anniversary of his disappearance. But she never found the well again. Some nights, when the wind howled through the trees, she swore she could hear his voice, faint and distorted, whispering from the darkness.